rarely hear each other. Larry Sharpe has traveled the country and has personally visited every county in New York State, listening to people's concerns. The Sharpe Way is a show where answers, solutions, and common ground can be found so that together we can forge a new way forward. The Sharpe Way is the way to mutual respect, where no one has to convert to be heard, because you can be as liberal or as conservative as you want, as long as you aren't forcing your beliefs on others. Welcome to Sharpe Way Radio.
Oh, yes, it is Larry Sharpe. Sharpe Way Radio on the Voice of Liberty. So happy that you give me a small chunk of your afternoon. The number to call after the first break, 585-346-3000. You know, I was thinking about something odd the other day. And my daughter was telling me about a home she had gone to. My daughter's an EMT. And she remembered she said, Larry, the oven door was open in the place she went. And there was nothing in the oven. And they weren't cooking. I said, oh, they were heating the kitchen. She said, what? I said, yeah. I said, when I was a kid, I remember that when there was no heat, when I lived in the Bronx, we would all go in the kitchen, open up the oven, turn the oven on, and that would help heat up the kitchen when we were cold. And you might go, that seems kind of weird. Yeah, but yeah, that's what we did. I lived in an apartment building in the South Bronx. And we knew the super, who was a live-in super. So once in a while, I would go down and hang out with him. He was a guy who was born in Turkey. And he'd come over and he was a super in my building. And he showed me how things would break down. I'm probably, 7, 8 in that area. He takes me down to the basement where there's a massive boiler. And like you have to put stuff in the boiler and make it work and that kind of stuff and turn this knob or whatever. I was 7. I don't remember. There was stuff you had to do to make the thing work. Well, sometimes it either didn't work, broke down or whatever, or maybe we didn't pay our bill, whatever. I don't know. All I know is that sometimes we didn't have heat. So when I went down and talked to him about this, I'm like, hey, we don't have heat. Like, we're all hanging out in the kitchen with the oven on. And he's like, oh, yeah, we should go work on that and fix it. And what he wanted to do was fix it. As odd as that sounds, he wanted to fix it. When we didn't have any heat, my dad didn't say, we will now go into the kitchen, put the oven on, and live in the kitchen. No, that was a temporary fix for the current problem. But then he bugged the super to fix the heat, or he paid the bill, whatever. But after that, we had heat again. I was too little to know what he did. I mean, we might not have had money to pay the heat. I don't remember. But anyway, my point being, he fixed it. He saw there was a problem, and he went to fix it. New York State doesn't do that. New York State sees a problem and goes, okay, let's keep a Band-Aid on forever. Let's never fix it. Now, I mentioned my daughter is an EMT. If those of you who know what an EMT does, an EMT is not a doctor, right? An EMT doesn't solve your problem or cure your ill or any of those things. An EMT goal is to make sure you don't die on your way to a professional who's going to hopefully fix your problem. We hope, obviously. That's the hope. When I was in the Marine Corps, I was taught how to basically be a semi-medic, right? They didn't teach me to solve things. They taught me to keep the wounded guy alive long enough for the medic to get there so they could stabilize him and get him to a field hospital. My job wasn't to repair. My job was to hold him off until a medic could get there stabilize them, get them back so they could be dealt with. I'm not mad at the Band-Aid. I'm not mad at the EMT. I'm mad that New York State only has EMTs, field medics, and Marines who can patch you up just to survive. At no point do they say, let's now fix the problem. Right now, we have a program from the federal government called HEAP, HEAP. Forgot what it stands for. Doesn't matter. It's something stupid. But it's basically a way that the federal government gives money to New Yorkers so they can keep the heat on. Now, if you're saying, Larry, do you saying you don't want people to have heat? Of course I do. And if that was a one-time issue to back up New Yorkers so we could find a way to make the heating costs normal, I'm in. Hey, I'm not against EMTs and medics. But we have no way of fixing it. Imagine if my dad said, we have an apartment here in the Bronx, but we're just going to live in the kitchen. Why? Well, because I'm not going to fix the heat. I'm not going to pay the bill. We're just all going to live in a kitchen from now on. That's what New York State's doing. Trump administration has frozen the HEAP funds, not just for New York, from other places too, but from New York. And what's Kathy Hochul's answer? We'll make more money somehow or something. That's her answer. Her answer is bigger Band-Aid. Bigger Band-Aid. But it's not just that. How about the ACA? Obamacare, which is supposed to be so awesome, that can't survive without federal subsidies. Wait, I thought it was supposed to be the free market. I thought we were supposed to fix that. Democrats were supposed to fix it. So were Republicans. Both of them were supposed to fix it. Neither did. Bigger Band-Aid. Thought that was going to, what? Huh. Okay. How about our schools? How about we can fix those? No. Billions upon billions of dollars coming from the federal government. Okay, hold on. Hold on. If again, I got to bail out my kids for 1 year because we made a mistake, because we screwed up, whatever case may be, okay. But then we fix it, right? No. Bigger Band-Aid. Again. Okay. MTA, traveling around New York City and across New York State. Roads, highways. Well, we can't do that because there's $18 billion of infrastructure money sitting at the federal government. So, okay, if we had a horrible storm where we needed federal funds to come in 1 year and fix, okay. And then we'll fix it ourselves, right? No. Bigger Band-Aid. Again and again and again, whether it's schools, whether it's roads, whether it's heating, medical, in every case, New York State has Band-Aid upon Band-Aid upon Band-Aid from the federal government. New York State is at a point right now, I'm not joking, we cannot take care of our own. I want you to understand that. New York State is at a point we cannot take care of our own. Now, you would think that any one of those things that I said would have been a wake-up call. And Governor Cuomo or Governor Hochul or any of them before would have said, oh, hey, this is a wake-up call. We should try to find a way to fix New York State so we're not sitting here completely beholden to the federal government, and then we can actually, do our own with our own and support our own. No, not at all. We're now at a point in New York State where about 1/3 of our budget comes from the federal government. Think about that. Could you imagine if it was you listening to me right now, if 1/3 of all the money you spend came from your dad, came from your mom, came from your auntie. 1/3. Wouldn't you think, wow, thank you, auntie. Thank you, mom, dad, whichever. Thank you for helping me out. And I should now work my way into not needing you to give me 1/3 of the money I spend every month. Shouldn't you do that? Shouldn't you say, thank you, auntie? Thank you, dad. Appreciate the money. I'm in trouble. You hooked me up. Now I'm going to work on my way of fixing this in some way, shape, or form, making things better in some way, shape, or form, getting someone else to support me if I can't support myself, changing my lifestyle if that's required, changing my job if that's required, finding a government program, whatever, doing something, giving back to you in some way, right? I'm going to do something to change that. Not New York. Not New York. New York says, no, I'm going to keep getting that money because here's the issue. I've been getting the money for so long that now it's expected. Now it's an entitlement. Now it's required. And now if you don't give it, it's your fault. Yeah, it's your fault. Over all of this, it comes down to, I don't want to take responsibility. It's Trump's fault for it all. Doesn't it always come down to Orange Man bad? It does. Am I nuts? Am I wrong? You can tell me. 585-346-3000. Larry Sharpe on Sharpe Radio, the voice of liberty. Back with your calls and your chat after the break.
For the last couple of years, Joe Robach has been telling you about Flower City Collision in Henrietta, saying that it was started by a veteran along with his son, Zach. Hi, my name is Greg Sadwick, and I am that veteran. I want to thank the WYSL listeners for their support over the last couple of years. During those years, not only have I experienced the gratification of providing you the best repairs and customer service, it has also allowed me the opportunity to see my son develop as a young professional. So remember, Flower City Collision for your collision repair needs, and thank you for supporting our locally owned family business.
Donald Trump and conservatives may have won, but you know the left will unceasingly try to undermine society and spread evil, targeting the innocent and God-fearing, especially our children. Help promote a truth-based society and try something different in 2025. The WYSL stations can grow your business, professional practice, or organization, so allocate your ad dollars here. Reach our huge audience, entertained, inspired, and informed by leading conservative thought. Affordable, effective. The WYSL stations, the voice of liberty. Call 585-346-3000 to advertise.
Hey, if you like history and you like airplanes, the National Warplane Museum in Geneseo, New York is the place to go. Tours, exhibits, events, vintage aircraft, and more. Visit nationalwarplanemuseum.com for more details.
Sharpe Radio on the voice of liberty.
Oh, yes, it is Larry Sharpe on Sharpe Radio, the voice of liberty. 585-346-3000 is the number. I've been talking about how New York State is happily accepting federal Band-Aid after Band-Aid after federal Band-Aid, not fixing anything, not making things better, and happily accepting these Band-Aids. And now when we don't get them, it's the government's fault. It's the federal government's fault, not my fault. Mamdani just won the mayor's race here in New York City. Where's the first place he went? Down to go see Trump. Of course. Why? He wants those federal funds too. Remember how bad Trump was? He was every bad name in the book. All of them. Name the bad names. Trump was all of them. And then he's like, oh, I won. I need that money. Gotta head down and go see Uncle Don. Uncle Don. I got jokes, Uncle Don. I got jokes. I've always loved you. You know I've always loved you. Write me that check, Uncle John. Uncle Don. Please write that check. All of a sudden. Yes. Whatever you want to say about Mamdani, he's not dumb. That's one thing he's not. He's not dumb. He knows where that butter's coming for that bread. And he was like, okay, I'm gonna head on down there. And that's sad. That shouldn't be the case. But it sure is. Let me grab some comments if I could. Patty says, people up here need $1,000 for 1 month of heating, putting the thermostat at 60. Wow. Yes, we need help. I agree. No argument for me, Patty. My problem isn't that people need help. I recognize that people need help. And for many reasons. It could be structural issues. Someone could have made a mistake in their life. They could have got unlucky. Some combination of those two or three. Of course. People get unlucky, or people fall down, or the system harms them. Absolutely. My issue is we aren't trying to repair it. Where is the plan, Patty, for that to change? Where is Elise Stefanik's plan? Where is Kathy Hochul's plan? I'm going to tell you their plan. Uncle Don writes me a bigger check. That's their plan. Are they talking about now all of a sudden nuclear energy like I've been talking about forever? Are they talking about new ways of raising money so that you can actually pay for things effectively? Are we talking about breaking up monopolies, which is what we put together? The cartel system that New York State has put together that allows the government to run this? Remember, everything we're complaining about, energy, housing, education, medical, all those things run by the government. Let me repeat that. All the things that are expensive and crazy are run by the government. And what is their answer? More money from the federal government. You're not wrong, Patty. I'm saying, where's the answer? I'm giving you an answer. And if people had followed what I said in 2018, we would have had those nuclear power plants built already. That was 8 years ago. I brought this up 8 years ago. If we had built those nuclear power plants, by now, they'd be built. We'd have at least 3 of them. You wouldn't be paying $1,000 for your heat. You wouldn't be. For your energy, electricity. We wouldn't be fighting in this stuff at all. Right? We would have been ready for AI. We'd have been ready for the data centers. We wouldn't have to have these solar plants, these solar farms destroying our farms upstate. Wouldn't have to happen. All of that's gone if they had listened to me 8 years ago. I'm with you. I've been given answers for 8 years. They don't pay attention. So yes. Andrew says, heating, isn't that what HEAP is for? Yeah. But Trump said, I'm not giving it to you. I'm just not gonna. I'll decide when and how, whatever. This is what happens, Andrew, when you don't rely upon New York State, but you instead rely upon the federal government. And when it was Uncle Joe, all good. Uncle Joe put his auto pin on extra fast. Checks came and running. All good. Well, now it's Uncle Don. Yeah. When your rich uncle doesn't want to give you the cash, you got a problem. So Mamdani went down there and said, Uncle Don, I've always loved you. That's what happens. You are correct. The Orthodox Moor says, your idea about leasing names of bridges in New York is genius. Thank you, my friend. This is how you raise money to get what you want without taxing every New Yorker. Here's the problem, and you get this. Our taxes keep going up. This is the issue. Our taxes keep going up, yet Patty still struggles and her friends to pay their heat. What? Our taxes keep going up, yet we still have tolls, yet we still have a housing problem. Worse, New York State has the worst wealth gap in the entire nation, worse than California. Worst wealth gap in the nation. But our taxes keep going up. Huh? That's the problem. So thank you for that. All righty. Sam says, heating costs an insane amount, and yet we don't up and up fracking drilling. Make it make sense. Well, because climate or something. See, Sam, why are you mean? I don't know why you hate turtles. Why are you a bad person? You're evil, Sam. That's the reason, because you're mean. Okay, that I think made sense, kind of. Yeah, no, there's no way making sense. I tried to make sense. I did, Sam. It didn't work because it doesn't make sense. If only we had some form of energy here in New York. Oh, wait, we do. We won't use it because turtles or something? Why are you mean? Why do you hate animals, Sam? You're mean. Keith says, is New York where they outlawed gas stoves? I know there's more to that. Yes, on both counts. But they didn't really outlaw gas stoves. I mean, they kind of did. What they basically are pushing this out. They haven't said no to it. They've said, well, we're going to hold off on it. Because again, it felt good because save the planet or something. So it felt good, but it was a terrible idea. And I want to be clear, for those of you who care about New York State and its climate change and things like that, okay, let me give you a stat to make you feel better. New York State has the lowest carbon footprint of all states, the lowest. We're there already. We've done our bit for king and country. We're good. We can now go live. So even if you're like, my God, Larry, the planet, we're all going to die. Al Gore was always right. Okay, I got you. Al Gore is awesome. And he's right. And we're all going to die. Okay, got it. Lowest in the entire country. We've done our bit. If you want to now save the world, get the rest of the world to do their part. We've done our part. We've been punished enough. We have beaten ourselves over the back with our cat o' nine tails. Enough. We're done. We're at the lowest. Let other states get punished now. We're good. And you can still love Al Gore. I'm not mad at you. Love Al Gore. It's fine. Just, we're done now. That's all I'm saying. John says, her only answer is to grift off energy companies. True. There's a reason the price hike went through our legislature. Yes, guys. Remember this. The price hikes. They have to be okayed by our government. Why? Because the government runs it. Let me say that again. The government runs it. Everything that you're mad about, that's too expensive, that's a monopoly, that we can't change, every one of those things run by government. We could maybe not have it run by government. I know, John, I'm crazy. I know. But maybe if we did that, maybe competition. Oh, I said that evil word. Maybe competition will come in and prices might go down. Could be. Maybe if we had more supply and less demand, prices might go down. What? I know I'm insane. Oh, no. Let's just let government run it as a monopoly. What could go wrong? Oh, wait, New York State. Literally everything we want here to be better is run by the state. So what should we do? Give the state more money. Of course. What else? Mike Voss in the house. The Bronx NYCHA, for those of you who know what NYCHA is, New York City Housing Authority, has 10 stories of its side blow up literally, and zero heating as winter sets in. Imagine when Mamdani expands NYCHA by taking housing from landlords. I don't want to, Mike. That's terrible. Oh, my God. Okay. Is government doing a good job? You can tell me. 346-3000. Larry Sharpe on Sharpe Radio, the voice of liberty. Back with your calls and more of your chat. I see you after the break.
Radio home of the Bonnies. Avon, Rochester, WLEA, WLEA FM, Cornell, New York. Canisteo Valley Update.
State police say there was a double homicide at a hunting cabin last night around 10 o'clock in the Allegheny County town of Allen. Killed were two brothers, Mark Thompson and Dave Thompson. Mark, a 70-year-old who lived in Canterbury, Connecticut. Dave, a 69-year-old who lived in Port Charlotte, Florida. The suspect, the 65-year-old Scott Thompson of Englewood, Florida. He's their brother, Allegheny County DA Ian Jones.
This morning at the centralized arraignment court, he was arraigned on 2 counts of intentional murder and 2 counts of criminal use of a firearm in the first degree. He was remanded on those charges without bail. He did request a preliminary hearing. There's a short time window within which that hearing has to be held.
Hey, Larry,
So, someday.
did you see that the judge dismissed cases against James Comey and Letitia James?
That's Allegheny County DA.
Yeah, breaking news right now I'm seeing on the TV.
Here's the latest forecast from the News 10 NBC Weather Center. For tonight, mostly cloudy. Temperatures in the 30s, low 40s on Tuesday. We'll have cloudy skies, a little rain in the afternoon, the high near 50 on Wednesday. Some late day showers, a gusty breeze developing. Temperatures briefly well up into the 50s. Then it will turn sharply colder with some lake effect snow showers and windy weather on Thanksgiving. I'm Rich Cornelia for the Voice of Liberty.
Every day can be a holiday in your new ride from Dansville Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram Franklin Street near the airport, where you can lease a 2025 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo 4x4 SUV for just $299 a month for 42 months. Or check the 2026 Jeep Compass Limited SUV for only $269 a month for 27 months. A 2026 Jeep Wrangler Sports Convertible is just $249 a month for 36 months. Tackle work and fun in a 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn Lone Star Crew Cab pickup for just $299 a month for 42 months. These deals require lease loyalty. Stellantis lease loyalty on Wrangler. $2,500 down. First payment, DMV taxes and fees due at signing. 7,500 miles per year, except pickup, which is 10,000 miles per year. Other conditions may apply. See dealer for details. We welcome Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram customers in Hornell, Wellsville, Angelica, Arkport, and Canisteo. Visit Dansville Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Franklin Street near the airport.
Your go-to standard of specialized business insurance coverage. MGM Associates of Rochester, now serving the region and beyond in New York. Since 1984, MGM has provided leading coverage from a wide range of carriers. Not only home, condo, boat, motorcycle, and auto, but also specialized policies for all types of businesses, including nonprofits and law firms, livery insurance, property insurance, and bonds for all needs. MGM Associates of Rochester provides auto, workers' comp, healthcare, and liability coverage. Choose from virtual appointments or good old in-office, in-person consults by appointment at our Penfield office. Now 7-time winner of the National Best Practices Award. MGM is proud to support.
We have Keith, your personal
business home or professional
You're welcome,
insurance
Keith.
needs. Meet the experienced staff at MGM Associates, locally and proudly owned at 1745 Penfield Road in Penfield, 381-7008 or mgminsured.com. An associate of Chautauqua Patrons Insurance, 523 West 3rd Street, Jamestown, New York.
Are you new to town and resorting to big box stores and online shopping to revamp your home? Get big city experience and unlimited options at Decorator's Choice in Hornell. We offer the largest selection of flooring in the area with installation. From custom furniture and window treatments to Benjamin Moore paints and products, our design team will create your dream space. Shop your entire sleep system with our split head and traditional mattresses, offering bedding and pillow lines for your best night's sleep. Decorator's Choice has everything you need to revamp your space. Visit our showroom at 37 Seneca Street in Hornell and like us on Facebook.
As the saying goes, nothing's quite so sure as change. But one thing's constant. For more than 5 generations, Turnbull Heating and Air has been there, keeping you, your friends, and neighbors comfortable with the best 24/7 service and latest in comfort technology for best performance and energy savings. For today, tomorrow, and years to come, you'll be glad you turned to Turnbull. Count on it.
You'll be comfortable with the best. Turnbull Heating and Air.
I thought I had a control over my drinking, which I didn't. Thank you for the inspiration and the faith that I've got out of Open Door. It's wonderful, and it's helped me. It's saved my life.
To find out how you can help, go to opendoormission.com.
Urgent care and prescription refills only $29 with Simple Consult. Fast, private, and no live video required. Visit simple-consult.com and select asynchronous visits. Telehealth care by licensed providers, not insurance or for emergencies. Prescriptions only if appropriate.
Sharpe Radio on the voice of liberty.
Oh, yes, it is Larry Sharpe. Sharpe Radio on the Voice of Liberty, 585-346-3000. I just want to touch some breaking news. My engineer just let me know that the charges against Letitia James and James Comey have been dropped. Some of you might think, my God, they got away with it. Not necessarily. What the judge has said is that the appointment of the Halligan person was an unlawful appointment. Therefore, whatever Halligan did is therefore unlawful and should be ignored. That actually makes sense. I get that concept. What did that do? It actually might have helped Trump to be forward, because Halligan made a lot of mistakes and screwed that entire case up from the beginning. So that means what happens? They get a redo. That's what it means. The judge did not say that the case should be thrown out. The judge did not say that the case is not valid or good. No, the judge said is Halligan is invalid, and whatever she did is invalid. So if Trump takes a second bite at the apple, this may actually help him. So just want to cover that piece. If any of you are paying attention to that, a little bit of, insight for you guys. I want to grab a call if I can, and I threw some stuff out there for this caller to jump on. It is Keith. How are you, sir?
Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family and to everyone listening.
Thank you, my friend.
Happy Thanksgiving, really.
Was that what you wanted to call about?
Yes, I'll go on here. First off, now that you mentioned that about Comey, Trump's people have shown on certain cases they have a way of not tending to detail. So I understand the finer points that the judge said don't throw out the case necessarily, but Trump's people have made mistakes along these lines, and it's telling for us conservatives. Concerning Mamdani, at least several of my fellow conservatives have said that Trump, as a businessman, had no real choice to meet with him there, the so-called new mayor. So I'm asking, is the president placating him and or setting up Mamdani for failure? The point being, and I know many enough in this audience will disagree, law enforcement much of the time is the answer. Mamdani became an American citizen in 2018, and the year before that on his citizenship papers, he lied, flat out lied, that he did not support terrorism. He's made it known he very much supports the evil Hamas. And I want to know, if you want to answer, why, because I believe in regime change, whether it means getting rid of the communist regime in China or undoing the very evil psychopath Putin in Russia. So using that concept of regime change, why did the Trump Justice Department go after Mamdani? They could easily, for me to say, have undone his American citizenship and chased him back to Uganda. So
I will give you I'll give you a couple of ideas on this. Number one, I think you're right. The Trump DOJ made a bunch of errors when it came to James and Comey. Correct? I think very often Trump is someone who, if he's not interested, he just delegates. I think you see it with RFK Jr. I see you see it with Pam Bondi. He's got other stuff. He says, go, I'm going to walk away and do something else. That can be very effective as leadership, and it can bite you in the butt. I think in this case, it bit him in the butt. It's his style of leadership. And I think it does both. It sometimes is good and sometimes bites him. In this case, I think it bit him. He has another issue, which he very often hires based upon loyalty. And I understand that. Me being in the world I'm in, I want loyal people around me. So does he. So do many people. That's not uncommon. So when he hires for loyalty, you don't always get skill set. And if you're going to hire for loyalty and not have skill set, you have to oversee more or put other people around it to oversee more. And he did not do that. So I think that was a failure on his part. So I think you're right on those two pieces. Next piece. Why did he meet with Mamdani? Why wouldn't he? There are several reasons why. And he mentioned one of them in that press conference. And he said that Bernie people, after 2016, once the Democrats got rid of Bernie, actually a bunch of them, about a third, voted for him. I bring this up often. I talk about the idea that many Americans, they just want a rebel. They don't understand who or what or how. A bunch of the people who supported Bernie in 2016 could not have told you one of his policies. No idea. Just knew he was a rebel. He's yelling, rich people are screwing us over and the government's screwing us over, so we're going to change it. And people said, I like that. They didn't know what he was talking about. And when the Democrats got rid of him, they went, oh, this Trump guy, he's a rebel too. And they just went to him. Again, they couldn't have told you what his policies were. He knows that. And there's a chunk of people who voted for Mamdani. And I told the story before, but I'm telling it again. My daughter, as I said, is an EMT. She's hanging out with one of her partners that she's in the ambulance with. And the guy says to her, hey, aren't you happy that Mamdani won? And she goes, I don't know why. Well, you know, he's going to help us out and he's cares about us and stuff. And she's like, okay, like what? He goes, I don't know. So he says, I guess he's going to, I don't know, lower our taxes or something. And I know some of you just want to laugh when I say that. But this guy literally said he thought Mamdani was going to lower our taxes. Why? He's not paying attention. He has no idea. He's a youngster who saw Mamdani as a rebel and supported him and had zero clue on his policies. I think Trump wants that group of people, and I think he believes he can get them. That's my thought process on Mamdani. I think he believes he can get those Mamdani rebels to support him if Mamdani stops yelling at him. And Mamdani did. That is my gut. Does that answer your question, Keith?
Yes. In closing, on the rebel thing, that reminds me of the 1954 James Dean movie, Rebel Without a Cause. For everyone listening, if you're going to be a rebel, you really have to have a cause. And
yes.
These lefties, you know I'm conservative, very much so, they have no substance. And in closing, the problem with our young people today is that they only see the superficialities. They do not go deep enough and seeing, for me and others, a really bad guy that Mamdani is and his ilk clear across our very good country. So I just want people to know, again, if you're going to be a rebel, have substance and don't just come along with the easy pie, because like Mamdani, like with the babes, oh, he's good looking, got a nice smile. That's all superficial, and too many Americans today are being led down the garden path lane.
You're not wrong, Keith. Thanks for the call. Look, clearly you've heard me speak, all of you, for a long time. I'm not a socialist supporter. I'm not a Mamdani. I don't like his policies. Of course not. But Keith is right. He's a charismatic guy. That's true. Whether I like him or his policies or not is irrelevant. He is a charismatic guy, and people do fall for that. Keith is correct. I would like us to think more deeply. I try to be a rebel with a cause. I try. Sometimes I may not. I'm also good looking, by the way, so that helps. But that's besides the point. I appreciate what Keith's talking about. And I have a feeling that, look, Trump, whether you like Trump or not, it wasn't a bad idea for him to meet with Mamdani. He should have. Now, I think he was really nice to Mamdani. I was kind of surprised how nice he was. But I think he was because I think Trump believes he can get that chunk. I'm not sure that's the right answer, but I think he believes it. Or
Stan.
he does. One or the other. So I'm grabbing the call if I can. Is this Stan?
Yeah.
How are you?
Good. Is this Larry Mayonnaise?
I guess so. Mayonnaise. Okay.
I'm just messing with you, dude. It kind of rhymes, though, right?
No, go ahead. What's up?
Yeah. Well, I was just listening to y'all conversation. You and Keith. Keith, that's my boy too. He calls. He makes all the sense in the world. He's a no nonsense dude. Respect
That's
that
true.
dude a lot. But so I hear y'all talking about rebels, people who it seems to me, I think what's happening is, young people, because we were probably rebels too. I'm 56 years old. I know I was when I was young, because the first stage you start rebelling is against your parents, okay? Because you can't go to that party, or you can't smoke cigarettes, you can't do this, can't do that. So you're born into that, and you're bred into that. You just got to look for something, some kind of system to buck against. Especially if you don't have nothing to do. Now, what my generation did, instead of bucking against adults and the politics, political system, we just created a genre, hip hop. That kept us busy.
Also true. Yep.
You see what I'm saying? I think this generation, it seems like they don't have nothing to do, or they're not creative. So all they can buck against is adults in the political system. They want to run out here. They want to fight.
No,
They're going to
Stan,
fight.
hold on, Stan. You have brought up a very important point just now, particularly with young men. So many young men are lost. You're right. And they jump on whatever bandwagon they can find, whether that's Mamdani or whatever. I think you're right. I agree with you.
And Mamdani, you were right too. He seemed to be kind of charismatic. But what makes him that? I personally think because he speaks very well. He speaks like he knows what he's talking about. He got all the mannerisms, the hand movements, and everything else. He just really sound believable and know what he's talking about, even though he really don't.
I think you're right. I agree. I'm up against the break, my friend. I have to let you go. Stan, thank you for the call. I appreciate it. Hey, look, I think Stan's got a very valid point. If you see people who don't have something to go up against, what's that old saying? If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. That's what Stan's saying. Is he right? Let me know. 585-346-3000. Larry Sharpe on Sharpe Radio, the voice of liberty. Back with your calls and more of your chat after the break.
Debunking advertising from the law office of Christopher Johnson. One ad some injury attorneys inundate you with, "What's your case worth? Call us and find out." Nobody can tell you, quote, what your case is worth over the phone. Nobody knows. The ultimate answer to, quote, what your case is worth involves weeks or months of research, evaluation, and preparation. Many factors go into any compensation you might get, like applicable law, who's actually at fault, how much insurance coverage there is, and many, many other factors. At the law office of Christopher Johnson, the singular focus is getting your life back on track after an accident or injury. That takes money, and it helps when the advice and legal advice you get has a one-on-one focus informed by straight talk. Christopher Johnson Attorney, car, truck, motorcycle accidents, personal injury, and DWI defense. Call 585-415-3803. 585-415-3803.
Youth for Christ Rochester is creating a safe sanctuary and a Christ culture for at-risk city kids. Our basketball programs provides a strict code of conduct, discipline, and mentoring to give our kids the boundaries they need and crave. Our God's Girls middle school program is so popular, we're now in 3 city schools and growing. Our Performing Arts Academy explores and identifies untapped gifts, all while delivering the gospel of Jesus Christ. Give a monthly or one-time gift at yfcrochester.org/donate.
Sharpe Way Radio on the voice of liberty.
Oh, yes, it is Larry Sharpe on Sharpe Way Radio, the voice of liberty. I'm going to say thank you. Give me a small chunk of your afternoon. Boy, we've been yapping about government, about Hochul, now about Comey and James. Two Jameses, right? First and last name. Got them both. So, yeah, I do want to keep bringing up a couple of the comments you guys have been popping up. You have been putting up a lot of comments. Let me grab some of them if I can. Fred says, Governor Hochul wants New Yorkers to go all electric for new homes. She has no clue that the infrastructure of the electrical grid would fail catastrophically. She really doesn't care. I think both of those things are true, Fred. She's not paying attention. It doesn't matter. If things fail, she'll just blame somebody else. That's the issue. She'll just blame somebody else.
Phil.
That's the easy way of doing it. So yes, we'll grab a couple more. Patty says, my daughter works for a propane company. Yes, propane is being outlawed. Yes, absolutely. So two people talking about Mamdani and Trump. Mike says, Mamdani had to bow to Trump because socialism only works with other people's money. Well, I don't know if he had to, but yeah, you got to get that cash. Socialism works perfect when you add capitalism. So good point. John says, I also expected Mamdani to kiss the ring of the evil orange real estate tycoon. He has to play the game because he can't do it alone. So two different ways of kind of saying the same thing. I appreciate that. All right, let me grab a call if I could. This is Phil. Phil, how are you?
I'm great. How are you, Larry?
What's going on, my friend?
Good. I'm staying warm here with my natural gas heat and my boilers.
Nice.
I'm glad for that. I'm glad I'm grandfathered in. But I had a quick question. I heard Charlemagne the God and talk about the need for, within the black community, the ability for people to kind of walk away. And I've seen kind of the same thing with Marjorie Taylor Greene, where a lot of people are kind of realizing that people who have, small government, beliefs and they don't want to get involved in foreign wars are kind of being pushed out of the Republican Party now.
Yeah.
And I was just wondering what you thought about, what are some ways that people who are within, I guess, a coalition group, do they have any power within those parties, or should they try to find another option outside?
Let me touch a couple of those. I think you heard when Keith said it. Keith was very open. He said he supports regime change. A lot of people still do, right? A lot of neocons do, a lot of old school conservatives, a lot of old school Republicans. That mindset hasn't gone away. The issue is, to your point, a lot of people now, particularly youngsters, don't like that at all. They're totally against it. Now, here's a problem. Many youngsters now, particularly young men, as Stan was talking about, are starting to move more towards conservatism. The women are still heavily towards liberalism or towards progressivism. The boys are starting to move towards conservatism. But many of them, to your point, they're anti-war. They don't like regime change. They're more on the Tulsi Gabbard, Tucker Carlson. They're more in that MTG, Thomas Massey. They're more in that camp of the Republican Party than they are of the more old school Marco Rubio Republican Party. So what do you do? It's a valid question. What do you do? What do you find people doing? They're just leaving the party. But here's the issue. The Democrats are unpopular. MTG is not going to go become a Democrat, right? Justin Amash, as he walked away, is not going to become a Democrat. If Thomas Massey ever leaves the Republican Party, not saying he will or won't, don't know. If he ever does, he's not going to become a Democrat. So he's stuck. As I've said before, and I'll keep saying, 2026 is the year of the independent. You will watch independent voters decide all the big elections. They will. They're going to say to themselves, would I rather go left? Would I rather go right? Depending upon issues that matter to me most. And or will I vote third party? Will I vote libertarian? I hope you will. Clearly, I am biased. Will I vote We the People? Also, I am clearly biased, but will you? Or will you vote Green? Constitution Party, right? I'm not part of either of those parties, but that's fine. But I think you're going to see parties like that begin to explode and grow because there's no other place to go. You're going to see, you might even see in the coming years, write-in candidates actually win, which is very difficult, but you may find them winning because enough of the coalition will gather together to get someone to go third party. What should happen? We should see one or two third parties become more standardized and become the kind of spoiler / controller through swing vote. And you will see single issue coalitions happen. People on Democrats, Republican side who both want the same thing and they can't talk to each other because of politics will use the third party as a conduit. So as an example, people who actually want regime change, and lots of Democrats do too. They might move together through another party to move that forward because their own bases might be fighting. Or the reverse, those who don't want regime change might move through a party like Libertarian
Another call on hold.
to do that. Does that make sense, Phil?
Oh, definitely. Absolutely. Yeah. Because I think that that's the big thing too, is there's a lot of demographics that are kind of even just like written off because they're believed to be in the pocket of the Democrats or the Republicans. I mean, I think that the one that the Republicans will give a lot of times is black voters will vote 90%, towards Democrats, until recently, and that's, and that's something where you kind of lose. And I think this was something that, Charlemagne the God was kind of bringing up too, was like, that this is a way that you kind of lose your power. If you can't walk away, you're stuck voting for one of the duopoly candidates.
Absolutely. Phil, thanks for the call, my friend. I appreciate it. Let me grab another call if I could. How are you?
It's Roger.
Hey, Roger.
Hey, Larry.
What's going on?
Rise of the independent. That's what I want to hear. Register independent, run independent, vote independent. So
yes, and yes.
So if we were a citizen-initiated constitutional amendment state, I'd run one to allow for nuclear power, thorium-based, cooperatively owned by the community and ran by workers, but leaves the ultimate decision to the community that will host that plant to decide whether or not to have it there. So
I'm with you. The question that we have with this one, Roger, is how do we define the community? In other words, we have to have a way of measuring that community. Is it county? Is it precinct? Is it district? I'm unsure.
County.
My gut says county. I'm with you. I think county is the answer. I think it's the safest, easiest way of making it work. I think county is the answer.
If you're against immigration, then the last thing you should want is regime change, because then you have a bunch of refugees flooding your border. Obama bombed the crap out of Muslim countries who ended up flooding Europe. We also did these regime changes in our hemisphere in Latin America, maybe not bombing, but coup d'etats and economic sanctions, so they end up coming here. What do you think is going to happen when he wants to launch a war with Maduro? Okay, you're going to have a whole bunch of Venezuelans coming here and say, oh my God, what's going on here? I don't understand. Our government creates terrorism with these regime changes. We took out Saddam, who was a plug in the sink for terrorist groups. Now the whole Middle East is destabilized. We took out Muammar Gaddafi. Now it's a complete slave state. So you should not want regime change, because you got to take a look at what comes after that, the backlash on that.
No argument for me. Thank you for my friend. I appreciate that, Roger. Guys, we had so many calls and so much stuff. I couldn't get to all of you. I apologize. Hopefully, next time we'll make that happen. Guys, I want to say thank you so much for giving me a small chunk of your afternoon. I will see you all very soon.